Hello and welcome. My name is Oliver and I'm here at Logie Timber, located northeast of Scotland in Morayshire. Today we're talking to you about oak, from the tree through to the milling process, drying and also processing timber itself. This video is brought to you in part with Ashes, helping you to understand oak. Scotland's rich history is deeply intertwined with oak trees, in particular the native species of sessile oak and peduncular oak. These trees have played a part in Scotland's landscape for thousands of years, forming a key role in the ancient woodlands of the Caledonian pine forest. Oak trees can live for up to 1,000 years and provide a haven for over 2,300 wild species, from your birds, insects to other plants. Just standing here alone, you've got your lichens, beetles and even other trees growing from it. Oak trees thrive in well-fertilized soil and are found in woodlands, parklands and farmlands around the world. But it all starts with an acorn. Oak trees won't produce their first batch of acorns until about 50 years of age. Here in the woodland, the trees are easily identified through their rough, deep-ridged bark, often covered in mosses and lichens. Their leaves are long and lobed, about 10 centimeters in length. High up in the canopies, an oak's flowers are long and yellow hanging catkins. Oak trees are monoecious, meaning they have both male and female flowers, though often the females prefer their pollen from greater distance to have greater genetic success. Like many trees, given the space, oak trees will spread out, producing big limbs like this. Now, to many people, this tree won't be of many worth, as it won't produce long, straight, clean timber. But to others, this tree is full of character, as you have your burr, and you have, where the limb joins the main stem of the tree, your crotch. Now this will be used for boat builders in particular, as a cross grain from main trunk to stem is very strong for their knee joints and their framing of large timber boats. Historically, oak has been utilized for its strength and durability, being used for shipbuilding, construction use, furniture making and whiskey barrels. Today we're still utilizing that in using it for flooring, cladding and even veneer. Scottish oak is seen as a better quality because of the colder climate. So it's cold climate, growing slower, denser, harder, stronger. But because we've also got very wet and windy climate here in Scotland, it really can affect the timber with ring shake, cracks, rot getting in, and to get high quality oak, it's quite hard. So all of this stuff is from one site. We've got a big batch load from Rothiemurchus. It's quite rare, kind of one-off here in the Highlands kind of area, because there's not many mature oak forests out there. You know, a tree will reach harvestable period after 100 years or so to get good quality from it. Whereas you can get one-off trees from parklands or field edges, which will be beautiful big trees, but will not be your nice straight-grained logs at long lengths that you can get big beams or cladding out of. Oak timber is often quite light brown in colour to kind of golden, with quite straight grain, not much deviation through winter or summer growth, with its sapwood, depending if it's spalted or not, quite light or even dark in colour. What is also quite noticeable running through oak are the medullary rays. So here on this piece, this is quarter sawn, which shows these light silver coloured patterns that run through the timber. Like I said, if quarter sawn, it shows it really, really nicely, like this. As prized for many carpenters or furniture makers. And in history, to have quarter sawn veneer in your house was a real sign of wealth. What you may also find in oak is burring, which I have here. Ooh. Like we saw on the large tree before, Once milled, this amazing pattern will come through. Deviation in grain, color, it really is coming quite beautiful. But you also get with oak pipping, which in a way is a form of burr, which you see on some trees. It's just small patches. This is also referred to as cat paws as well. And lastly, you can also get bog oak. And these are two very small examples of it. But bog oak are trees of oak that have fallen into bogs many years ago and have led sat for thousands of years underground. Through that time, minerals in the soil and water penetrating the timber turns it into this black ebony kind of wood. Still with amazing features of the oak running through with rays and grain the pattern, but this is prized purely on the rarity of finding it. Now we've got a piece on the mill. This log is from Logie actually, just up the drive, so you can't get more local than that. It was felled last year and has been sat in the yard for quite a few months now. It's really good to get your timber, whether oak or other hardwood species, felled in the winter, just because the sap level, water levels are all quite low in the timber. And then once it's in the yard, most woods you can kind of mill straight away. Oak is recommended that you let sit for kind of as long as you can really. Whilst it's sat, again, kind of more moisture will come out of the log, but also a lot of the tension will settle in the log. Now, it'll really make a difference with your finished product. When we're going to mill it now and then stack it, it's going to want to move as the moisture comes out of it. So the longer it's sat, the better. I'm planning on getting some 100 by 100 posts out of it and also some quarter sawn boards just for our own stock. This log was by a roadside, and so it's not very long and straight. As you can see, there's a few knots in it, which isn't too big an issue for what we want. Might do for the boards, just because where there are knots, as that dries, is really going to move the timber a lot. And also, it's a bit bent, a bit like a banana, and so trying to work with that as well. Because it's roadside, another thing to check for is any metal, wire, anything like that, because that really will damage the machinery as you're cutting it. And also with oak, if there's any metal or anything in it, it will stain it. So because of the tannins that are in the oak, it will react to iron and other metals. And so I've seen before where there's been a fencing nail in it, and there was a good meter long, couple 100 mil wide section of oak that was stained blue, and that would carry on all through the drying process as well. That will also happen as you're cutting it. So we've added some stainless steel strips onto the mill. Otherwise, as the log sits on the mill cut, it will start to react with the metal and stain it. As positioning wise, I've gone for trying to go for the center of the wood. Like I said, go for quarter sawn. So I want to try and cut from end to end through the center of the log. Often what I would try and do is capture any cracks that are in the log. So you see there's a crack running through here. I want to try and capture it like that at both ends. So you've only got one length of timber with a crack running through it instead of all your timber. What's really great about oak, one of its many uses, is use in green as well as kilned. So timber such as timber frames, you use green oak for, big structural beams, and also outdoor use as well. If left green, it'll last your lifetime. As UV gets to it, being outdoor, it will turn silver, the color will go, but you'll still be able to see the grain. And also what's great is use in river restorational work, where if it's fully submerged, again, green oak will last you a lifetime. So there's something really good and durable about the oak, because useful as green as well as kilned. Something to bear in mind when you're quarter sawing, as you saw when the log's being milled, there's a lot of tension in it, and just cutting it into four, it's going to move quite a lot. So you see there's a bit of a gap underneath it at the moment. I want to cut some 35s out of this. So this bottom plank, I'll cut a little bit extra because it'll be a bit narrower at the ends. Timber's going to move as you cut it, so you need to bear in mind and really watch. But it's something we can work with as we go through. Like with all hardwood, it's really important to harvest and mill your timber in the winter when it's much cooler. But the most important part of your processing of timber is your stacking. So here we're going to talk about this piece here. It's all from Gordonston, which is a huge oak tree, and it's a quite unique case of milling and stacking. So when it comes to stacking your oak, your stickers are really important. Okay, so as this dries, and which is recommended to air dry timber, oak in particular, about an inch per year, it being oak and it being Scotland, we usually let air dry for a bit longer than that. Keeping your stickers in line is key, okay, because weight dispersal wise, as this board dries, it's going to want to move, and oak really does want to move as it dries. It keeps the weight pinned against one another, to try and keep it level and flat as possible. So like I say, we recommend between 400 and 600 mil spacing. Any more than that, then you run a risk of there being movement in between the boards. Any less than that as well, then you might get more sticker marks. So we use 22 by 22 mil, so there's less surface area on the board itself, but keeping a nice large gap for the airflow to get through. We also, on this pack in particular, have a shelter on top of it, as this is a special job we're doing for Gordonston, and we want to keep as much UV and rain off of this as possible to try and speed up the drying process, but have a better quality at the end as well. And also where it's stacked. So have a nice level ground as well. Preferably try and keep it raised off the ground by about 400 mil. Again, to keep nice flat boards dry quickly and evenly. Well, I hope this video has helped you understand more about the journey from tree to timber for the oak. And has also helped you feel more confident in your future work with one of the UK's finest tree species. Any more questions or anything like that, please do reach out to the Association of Scottish Hardwood Sawmillers or ourselves here at Logie Timber.